We also did installation in the galleries, big scale immersive media. This is in 2000. And I thought, this is really interesting. This tension between the real object and this virtual experience. I want to work in the galleries. I gave up the web completely, and now I'm back in the museum space.
You pioneered the framework of computational museology. So can you let our audience know what's the main difference between computational and traditional museology?
So computational museology, by definition, is really dealing with digital material. So it's the digital twins and the digitized artifacts that we might have in our collections. My particular expertise is to take that world of knowledge and to bring it to the public in large-scale immersive environments.
I see. So I feel like right now, computational museology is actually a pretty big part of most museums nowadays. I feel like even in Hong Kong, I've been to museums where, I'm immersed into a world and they use digital. So that's also computational museology, right?
Of course. It's about scaffolding all these things together. From the concept of how you create and store digital material, how you mine that digital material, how you then render that digital material, and then how you interact with it.
I see.
And then how you take care of it so you can do it again, right? So it's that whole life cycle.
Wow.
They call it the digital curation life cycle.
I see.
Yeah. So I first came to Hong Kong in 1996, actually. And then I had the great privilege to be invited back to City University. And together with Professor Shaw, we established this laboratory called the Applied Laboratory for Interactive Visualization and Embodiment, ALIVE. That was a great time. We did many interesting projects, like the projects, the Pure Land projects with the Dung Wan Academy.
How do you balance respecting the roots of Eastern culture with your own cultural background when you curate these exhibitions?
I mean, people talk about the hegemony of Western technology. I think that there are many, many great technological inventions that come from all over the world, and we are building on all of those. So this is not really an argument. Ways of seeing are interesting. So I talk in my work about the panoramic, the panoptic, and the hemispheric. When I was working with the Matu artists, the Aboriginal First Nations people in Australia, and they saw all the different technologies that we had, and they chose the full dome because you could lie on the ground and look up. And so these naturalized ways of seeing. But then the whole tradition of the full dome comes out of, we could say it comes out of astrophysics. It comes out of looking at the stars above. But then you have the whole tradition of domes, of Jain domes, of mosques, of Buddhist temples, and so on and so forth. So all of these ways of seeing are very embedded in different cultures, and often it's a synergy, and it brings people together because they feel like the right thing.
And would you say this cross-cultural exchange is really important when it comes to getting visitors to understand and also really appreciate the roots of Eastern culture?
Sure. I mean, the ability to spend time with something. So I would say we make slow media art, right? Because a lot of these works, to really benefit from them, you have to explore. They don't move fast, they don't whiz bang, we can do all of that, but they don't do that because they are lenses for being able to focus.
So how do you lead collaboration among team members who comes from different backgrounds and they have different expertise, and also what challenges do you encounter?
I think at a personal level, one should never assume one knows everything.
Yes.
And to keep listening, but also you have to know when people aren't telling you the truth. So with knowing what's possible is the most critical thing in working with software engineers. Because coding is hard.
Yes.
Coding is not easy. So there's certain ways to code that get a certain result, and there are other ways to code which is more labor intensive that takes you to a different place. And it's about knowing when it's not possible or when it is possible and we need to go there and make the extra effort. We're also researching the potential of generative AI for museums.
Now that we're in the Museum Summit 2025,
Yes.
you know, I learned a lot, like the new snow from Norway. I was very fascinated. So I was wondering, like, how's your experience, you know, also interacting and engaging with them? Any insights?
Sure. I think that actually the panel was well set up because we each brought something very specific. The woman from China was absolutely brilliant. They're doing so much up there with extraordinary cultural material, really. And this idea of the Grand Palais is the building with nothing.
Yeah, that was very interesting for me
it's
as well.
great. And so he said a line in his speech, which I use all the time, which is, ceiling height is everything. Because it is. If you're doing immersive media, ceiling height is everything.
Do people from different cultural backgrounds or generations, do they react differently with exhibitions that uses new technology? And does that also in turn influence the way that you curate the exhibitions?
So I think you do see differences in cultural reactions. I can give you some anecdotes, but you also see differences in age groups. And the idea that technology is for young people is a complete fallacy, absolute fallacy. Because we have these wonderful examples with this work we did from India. It's called Place Humpy. And it's old ladies over 75 who would come back and move this massive digital platform. They would spend over an hour there drifting around in this fabulous 3D world. They had the time. The kids would spend 5 minutes. Levels of noise is very culturally specific. So in Europe, they like really quiet exhibitions. And in China or in India can be much more noisy, a lot more music, you know, a lot more rich soundscapes. Chinese audiences, in my experience, are very open, curious, and into it, right? Get into it. They just pick it up and they do it, whatever it is. If I do the same thing with a Swiss audience, no way. They'll look at it for half an hour and walk around it and observe it and wonder if they're allowed to touch it and leave.
When I was a child, I was dyslexic and I lived in a world of images and sound rather than the world of words.
In your past speeches, you've mentioned you being dyslexic as a child. Where
speeches, I hope it was only one speech.
Really?
Yeah.
So where like image and sound influenced you more than text ever did. So in today's image-driven era where young people are also more impacted by visuals and sounds, how do you see this phenomenon and how does that impact the industry?
It's true, I was dyslexic, but now I've written lots of books, so you know. I don't know how true this is, but NASA actively recruits dyslexic people because they have a highly refined 3D perception, spatial perception, and also they're really good at creative problem solving. So I read that, I thought, yeah. And of course Picasso and Einstein and Stephen Hawking, all dyslexics. It's true that the world of images is like it's like an architecture that you're building all the time. It's like being an architect. It's like sculpting cultural material. I even teach a class called Cultural Data Sculpting.
Yeah, but how does that impact the industry? Like, is there a trend, you'd say?
Increasing data sets. I mean, this is the major trend, is that we have an abundance of digital material, and this will spawn a whole series of industries. And what's crazy about the AI world is that, in fact, they're trained on very narrow data sets, when in fact the world of data is much bigger. So that's why we get all this bias and stuff, is because their training data sets are too narrow. And I think I'm most interested in those kinds of works that have really deep research and curatorship and create an archive that then can be reused and reframed. So there's this spectrum of experience that the industry is playing with, from head-mounted displays through to massive LED displays. And somewhere in the middle is the opportunity to create these intimate, profound digital experiences. And we're beginning to see those too.
So imagine that there is a young professional who's aspiring to enter this field watching this video right now.
Okay.
What advice are you going to give them?
Get a degree in data science. No. For young people coming in, I think having that commitment to a particular vision of where our museums are going and what the potential is with the data understanding, and also knowing that you can't do it all yourself, and it takes 20 people to build any project. And so collaboration is key, but you can collaborate widely, highly interdisciplinary, so thinking in a highly interdisciplinary way about how you go from A to B.
What is your impression about our junior reporter, Sian?
Oh, absolutely fabulous, actually. Very articulate and with the most wonderful set of questions, very pertinent. I mean, going to the heart of many of the issues that we're dealing with in this summit, and also in the work that I've been doing.
It was incredible being able to talk to Sarah, because it's not every day where you get to talk to an expert in this museology field. And I've really gained a brand new perspective. And next time I go to a museum, it's going to be different, I'm telling you.
With such rich cultural traditions, and the fact that you're really one of these global centers, means it's an extraordinary place to be a curator, to be a creator of these kinds of things that we've been discussing here. I think Hong Kong's a fabulous place to be.